Right, hello everyone. This is Charlotte, and this is a podcast called Chatting in Cars, where I talk about random topics as I drive to work. I'm actually on time today, which is nice. There's a disclaimer at the start of this podcast because I do talk about random topics, and I do go on tangents as well. So if you don't want to hear me waffle on about weird stuff, I suggest changing the channel. I also swear a lot. I enjoy it. I like it. So I'm going to keep doing that. And you've got to do what you love, so yeah. The topic for today is gentlemen. Like, I was raised a lady, weirdly, in the circumstances I was raised in, with the values of being a lady. So I'm guessing the male equivalent would be to be a gentleman. This is the kind, to be honest, it's the kind of man I'm attracted to. Ooh, hello. Kamikaze grandmas coming out of turtle holes in the wall. I don't like man whores. If you watched, or listened to rather, the other podcasts I did about man hoeing in the green list, it's like, it's not an attractive trait to be this kind of guy that, you know, goes around spreading his seed. It's like, what? I say spreading his seed, it's like pretty much dicking whatever you can find. It does have a smack of desperation to it, where you feel compelled to fuck anything you can find. It's, I mean, if it was a girl, traditionally if it was a girl, it'd be slut shaming. You'd be going, girls can't do that because it's unclean and unladylike and stuff like that. But guys can do it apparently. And I'm sitting there going, no, guys can't do it. No. And there's a whole lot more to the concept of being a gentleman than it is just not fucking around. Excuse me, I'm at the crazy intersection I don't like. Oh, crow babies are following me today. Oh, that's nice. I love my crow babies. Look, this one. You can't see it. Anyway, what's he up to? But the thing is, like, guys have got this weird toxic masculinity where they've forgotten how to use their manners. They're meant to be these rugged, well, stereotypically, these rugged, uber masculine, like, tough guys. And in the process, they forget how to use manners, and they forget that the girls they're dealing with, well, for the most part, are, I would say, softer than more emotionally inclined. Not that we can help it realistically. Well, to be honest, both sexes are emotionally, you know, they're emotional. I mean, guys just tend towards more aggressive things when it comes to the extreme, and girls tend to more the fluffy side of things, to be honest. Cliche-wise, I don't know if it's for everyone, but if we're looking at, you know, stereotypes, that's about right. Guys are seen as the aggressors. Hopefully they're the protectors as well, because we do need protectors as women. I mean, for the most part, we need protectors. You know, if you've got women, or if you've got humans at the top of the apex ladder, I mean, you're sitting there thinking of nature, we've got nothing really against us unless we go into the wild like a dumb fuck and try and poke a line up the arse or something. It's like, there's nothing really that could kill us, because, you know, we've got things like guns and knives and stuff like that. You'd arm yourself if you're going out on safari or whatever. For women, our main predator is men. Oops. Running stuff over. Which is disgusting considering it's our own species. So we've got to be, we're pre-programmed to be defensive towards men. A lot of our conditioning on a general scale comes from trying to remove or minimize threats that come from men. So you'll find that women are pushed to be nice. So you've got to be nice, because if you're not nice, the guys are going to become aggressive, and they're going to flick that fragile masculinity is going to flick on a switch, and they're going to be, you know, at you. So we're kind of conditioned to this kind of submissive, people-pleasing kind of things, because biologically guys are bigger than us, speaking most of the time. I still see those short kings. I see them. It's like, not my type, but, you know, someone will love you. Some girls are into it, just the same as some guys are into really tall girls. I don't get it. To me, that looks like a dude, but, you know, anyway, everybody's different. But for the most part, we're conditioned to try and avoid the potential threat of getting attacked, either sexually or physically or emotionally. We're just trying to keep the peace and keep the ball rolling, because physically guys are bigger than us, and that's how men have dominated over history, is because they're just physically bigger. A lot of stories in history are more like less inclined to be dominated by wits, more inclined to be dominated by brute force. It's like, you will get attacked, you'll get murdered, you'll get raped. That's how we'll subdue you. That's what tactics currently they're using in wars right now. And we're getting them for doing war crimes. Even I've been listening to some absolutely horrible stories about what Hamas is doing and the Houthis are doing, and all kinds of stories what the Russians are doing, and I'm sitting there going, this could be propaganda, but at the same time it could be true, because that is how they tend to culturally take effect. They attack people, and they don't discriminate as well. They attack women in particular because they're the vulnerable. They attack the old. How do you know I'm a Taurus? That's my ringtone. Cha-ching. It's the only way I can remember that it's happened. Okay. Oh. But it's the shock effect as well. It's like, considering in war that, you don't want to be seen as the weak person by showing benevolence to the vulnerable. If you want to be the aggressor and the ultimate aggressor, if you want people to think you're absolutely fucking psychotic, you go for the most vulnerable, don't you? Which is fucked up, absolutely, and it's completely dishonorable in war tactics against the Geneva Convention, obviously. But if you want max impact, that's what you go for. And women and children often get the biggest fuck over in those circumstances. Although, I still encourage women to sort of, stand up for themselves. I don't want them to take the submissive role. I think we should be working in unison with men, co-leading on an equal basis. That's the crux of feminism. If you're going into neo-feminism, it's more of a case of women are superior. It's like, I don't believe that. I think we're equal. We should be aiming for equality. Being that we're all human, that in itself should be an equality aspect. It's like, we're all the same species. Why would one section of the species be better or worse than the other? It doesn't make sense. So I'm aiming for egalitarianism. Some people are saying, oh, men are better, they're misogynists. And some are saying that women are better, and that's neo-feminists, and they go a little bit nutty with their women are better shit. I'm sitting going, I think that's just a knee-jerk reaction to being oppressed this long. It's like, you're just really, really pissed off. And so not only are you trying to level up to where the men are perceived to be of a particular rank, you're also trying to supersede them. You're trying to compensate for maybe the loss of centuries of getting fucked over by them. In general, this of course is generalizations. You can't assume all men are like this. I come from a very westernized society where men are still predominantly in the lead with some things, but at the same time, what are you doing, you prat? You know that's a merge section. Fucking idiots. Vitaras. Oh my god. They speed up to merge. He didn't indicate either. My autism is like, use the rules, dickhole. But at the same time, men are pushed as these predominant, they're meant to be dominating things. And at the moment, there's a big idea that women should be submissive. And if they're going out and earning their own money and standing up for themselves, it seems they are not taking the submissive role, and they're in their masculinity. I'm sitting there going, I came from a matriarch. I came from a female-led crew. We are not in our masculine, we are in our feminine. This is our feminine. We lead, we provide. Women were the original birthers and providers. When you were conceived, you were in us and we were providing. I don't understand where the cutoff is, where men just feel purposeless. It might be because you just for 3 seconds and that's your whole job in conception. It's like, there's no real work for them. They have fun for about 3 seconds and, well, at the end I should say. And then they fuck off. Well, they don't fuck off, but that's about it. They don't go through the labour, the birth. They don't go through the carrying the 9 months. They don't go through the child rearing. Realistically, they should, because they're co-creators in that. But traditionally, women do the hard labour, and that's why we've got songs like that labour song, where women have got so many demands put on us, just because we're taken as the lesser sex, I should say, species sex. And we're considered to be workhorses. In some cultures, women are just chattel and then, uterus with eyes. It's like, what are they good for? Well, they can cook, clean, and they can birth. It's like, what else? And then men will turn around and say, well, we're protecting you so you don't have to do anything else, so you can stay in the home and you're safe and stuff like that. And yeah, but it's also not giving us the option to do anything else. That's where people get pissed off, or women get pissed off. It's not having the choice or consent to be able to choose, you know? In some cultures, people just treat women like they're just something to be installed, like an appliance. And I think, honestly, that wouldn't exist in my heritage. This is like, you ever try to tell an Irish woman to stay in the fucking kitchen to kick your ass? It's like, get the fuck out, no. Particularly gypsy heritage. Just no. So I will do what I want. If I choose to stay in the house, that's on me. That's not a case of you will tell me because you got a dick. It's like, if anything, your dick and balls make you a liability because I can just in you and get what I want. So I really wouldn't. There seems to be a surplus of fuckwits in cars today. I'm getting tailgated by someone who's speeding. Get a life. But you know, and with that, I mean, I was raised on Jane Austen and periodic dramas and as well as Monty Python. I do like Monty Python. But it was a case of men are expected to act a particular way. They are there to look after the females, and that comes from the whole putting women in the position of we are smaller biological and protecting, but for the most part women are very capable of everything else. We've got brains, should we choose to use them. Some of them cop out and decide to be a housewife. It's like, what do you want to do with your life? I just want to have kids. It's like, what a waste of a brain. Okay, to me that seems like a waste of a brain. It's like, I know you've gone through school, I don't know why you bothered to go through school if you're just going to stay at home and do fuck all. No. And then they complain that being a housewife and being a mother is the hardest job you'll ever do. It's like, bitch, if you're a housewife and a mother and a teacher, I would understand. Because not only have you got it at home, you've got it at work, and you've got it 30-to-1 at work. That is the hardest job. Bar being like a mother and a doctor in an emergency room or something like that. It's like, there is no way that someone who stays at home, maybe has 2 kids, and as soon as they go into like the school system, still complains that their life is the hardest job there is. It's like, no, you've got no grasp of what real stress is. It's like, no, I don't believe that. I think you're full of shit. I think you're trying to look for external validation for the minimal effort you put in, and that's going to piss a lot of people off, because some people have decided this is my reality, this is what I want to do, and this is how much value I want to place on this particular position in life. And I'm sitting there going, you are capable of so much more than just this, and we've been fighting for fucking decades, centuries even, to get out of this mindset that this is all we're good for. And to me, at this point, it's just a cop-out. It's a cop-out, because you can do more. Not that you should fucking do more. You know, I'm not saying be the sole breadwinner and the guy does fuck all. If you've got kids, maybe you should co-parent. I mean, if you're together and it's a workable relationship, you could co-parent equally. If he wants to stay at home, be a house husband and look after the kids, then that's still viable, even though he's got a dick, you know? It's like, it's still doable. It's whoever depends, who's got the higher income that can actually pull in the more money and cover both of you. If it happens to be a guy, if it happens to be the girl, I mean, for the most part, we're looking at heterosexual relationships here. If it's 2 guys, it's 2 guys. If it's 2 girls, it doesn't matter. It's whoever's the higher earner goes out to work, if you want to do that. At the same time, kids are still introduced into school at 5 years old, so that's 8 hours of your day that you've got to yourself for the most part. I'm telling you now, cleaning a house does not take 8 hours. If it takes 8 hours, I would be severely concerned about your abilities in cleaning and organizing. I'm just, an hour maybe. I've done it myself. I'm sitting going, this is a finite space. Why are you adding so much to this bullshit? You're assuming that you're like lifting the earth or something like that in the 8 hours. It's like, it's an insurmountable mountain I have to climb every day. It's like, are you sure you're not just overdoing it? But anyway, I've got thoughts on that. I'm not going into it today. We're talking about gentlemen. Now with that protection of women, even though women are capable, it's the niceness, I think, associated with it. It's not a case of I have to be nice because otherwise emotionally they won't understand why I've got this toughness going on. It's a case of everyone should be nice to everyone. Everyone should have manners. Everyone should be looking after each other. Some people don't think they should have to look after other people. I don't know why. It's that me-centric, I've got to come first bullshit, and I hate it. I think it's honestly left over from the 80s. If there is any evidence of it before the 80s, with the whole greed era where everybody's in the stock market and only fending for themselves, it would probably be residual from maybe depression or something like that. It would be some significant life event, historical event, which would have pushed for this selfishness, and it's at this point redundant. We don't need to keep doing the selfish stuff, particularly when we're in like a cost of living crisis where everybody needs to be borrowing and stealing things to survive. You should be forming alliances and co-ops and things like that to try and get past it. It was wonderful when we did the COVID lockdowns, because we saw people sharing and coming together and working together, trying to make things happen and come, working together. So it is possible. But as soon as the lockdowns cleared up and people stopped wearing masks and things like that, everybody went back to being a selfish prick. And I'm sitting there thinking, why are we like this? It's like, we were so good. We did so well. Everybody pulled their weight and it was great. It bugs me that people sort of go back to being selfish after that. There were individuals within that of course did things like hoarded resources, and I'm talking about like toilet paper. In the Second World War as well, you had the black market for anything like bootlegging liquor and stockings and meat. Anything that you couldn't get on the ration books was also bootlegged, so there is always going to be a market for that. But generally people pulled their weight. I mean, even the rich people got taxed or their shit confiscated if they tried to hoard resources during the Second World War. They got very much in trouble because they were rich. They thought they were immune to it, and they started stockpiling resources like food and flour and stuff like that. They got in so much shit because the average person who was working on the ration books couldn't get access to these resources, and it created, it was considered treasonous because you're working against the state, working against, at the time, Crown, and they had it confiscated, and they were heavily penalised. My brain's fried. Oh, there you go, there she is. Bye then, douche. I hate people that get up your ass for no reason. So part of the concept of the gentleman is to be a caring individual. Like the toxic masculinity which we're being pushed around at the moment is to be a domineering force. There's nothing good about that. Women are not going to submit to someone who is perceived to be harmful. We want women to be nice and kind and generous and caring and all these lovely things that you see in like Austen novels. We want the maybe not the Mr. Darcy, because he's a bit niche. He's still a bit cold socially, because you don't know what's going on there. That was the whole premise of Pride and Prejudice, is to have Mr. Darcy, who is this tall, dark, handsome, quiet guy who's like, I didn't show emotions in public because it's just not done. Whereas you got Mr. Bingley, who's this fabulous like golden retriever guy, and you're just like, oh, it's just so fucking nice, take him. Fuck Darcy. Go with Bingley, he's lovely. And we all, in the end, you'll start liking Darcy. At the start you like Darcy, but at the end you'll like Mr. Bingley. And they got the Mr. Wickham, which was the archetypal whore, essentially, man whore, who just chases women around searching for money. In the end, he ends up with some woman, Wickham marries Elizabeth's younger sister. He elopes with her, hoping that Darcy will cover the debts of his gambling debts and things like that to his creditors. So he is the villain of the story, and that still sits even today. If someone's gonna, bumfuck you over money and expect someone to sort of blackmail someone else into paying the debts, otherwise you're going to release some information. At this point, it was jading Elizabeth's reputation through association with her siblings and family members. That would still make a villain today. It's like we all hate Wickham. He's a bastard. And you go, oh, bastard. Even when you're reading the books, I mean, my preference for Austen, Pride and Prejudice, isn't the new movie. To me, I feel like they've kind of cut out a load of Wickham. They've cut out a load of chunks of the story. So you go back to the 1995 BBC version with Colin Firth, and oh God, I love that woman, but I can never remember her name. The dark-haired one who plays Elizabeth. She's beautiful. I had such a crush on her growing up. But you go back to that, and it's more accurate compared to the book, compared to the movie. It goes on for like 8 hours or something like that, but it is way more accurate. And you do find these archetypes, and everybody wants to be Elizabeth as well. And I found that, looking at the biographies of Jane Austen, that she was more inclined to want to be like Jane as, not Jane, to be like Elizabeth, whereas her sister Cass, I think it is, was more like Jane, Elizabeth's sister. I know there's a lot of names, and you're sitting there going, what the fuck is she talking about? I'm like, Google it. If you can find the 1995 version of BBC Pride and Prejudice, go and watch that instead. Some people might find it a bit dry, but I've watched it like a bazillion times, and it's like one of my favourite Austen novels. It's like, oh my god, I still love that. I still do that. When it's like a rainy day, I still get all chickified. I put out my pink fluffy blankets and I get my snacks, and I sit there and I watch it for a marathon for like 8 hours. I think a lot of people do actually these days. It's got its own following. It's crazy how well that took up with the population, particularly anyone who likes periodic dramas. It's definitely a winter day, hot sweet food kind of movie. I would love to, and you nap in between sessions because you know what's happening. But it's definitely worth it. I'd do it. It's a camp on the couch, eat shit movie series. But at the same time, men in that book are perceived to be sort of providers as well, but they're also protectors. They're guarding the ladies' honours. Anyone who tries to attack one of the ladies' honours is generally shot down by the guys around him, because it's not done. I mean, to be a man of quality in that circumstance is not to act like a whore, it's to be more reserved, definitely higher morals. Wickham being, I nearly said Willoughby there, that's into Sense and Sensibility, but Wickham is the villain because he acts like a hoe, and no woman in this day and age is going to invest in a hoe. So you want to have your manners on point, you want to be a good provider, you want to still have the basics of being a congenial man. Congenial? Is that the word we're looking for? You don't want to be this outgoing. I mean, some girls, I say girls, mentally in my head I'm still like 16, but I'm not physically 16. I'm 38. But I'm still a girl. I'm ill. But no, you know, it's women these days, when it comes to romanticism, we want that gentlemanly figure. This is why these current renditions of, you know, periodic dramas sell so well, because we get so attached to this idea that men have manners and they'll look after us, not just financially but emotionally, and they're not going to be mean, you know, and they're not going to use us for sex, and if they do use us for sex, the other guys are going to put them on their ass, because that's just not done. It's not cricket. And that's why we like them so much. You use your manners, you're going to get so much further with the girls and the ladies than you will with, you know, bar whores. Bar whores love being treated like shit. They consider it their position in life, and they think they're on some kind of sexual adventure where you can just give it out for free and you'll get all the guys chasing you because I've got all this following. And you sit there and think, you are the human equivalent of a Kleenex. I don't know why the fuck you think you're going to go anywhere with this. They're going to jizz and run. It happens. This is why we have stories like Pride and Prejudice, which show us what kind of consequences come from those behaviours. And it's not just girls either. It's guys as well acting like whores. It's not an attractive trait. It signals the person you're trying to attract that this person is not staying. They're not worth investing. As soon as they get bored, they'll fuck off with someone else. And at the end of like Pride and Prejudice, even Lydia is a pain in the ass enough to piss off Wickham, and he ends up marrying her because he eloped with her. He's forced to stay with her. No doubt he was cheating on her the whole time they were married or something like that. I think there might be a continuation for that book. I don't know. There should be though. They could break off with their own story. Actually, I think it went into Mansfield Park after that, but it's a different person altogether. But we got these archetypes where guys are meant to be these absolute studs. Currently, it's where they're just spreading their seed, and it's masculine to fucking everything and be a player and stuff like that. And anyone who's looking for a long-term relationship is not looking for someone who's willing to throw it around like that. Christ knows what diseases you're picking up, and it says a hell of a lot about your morals, that you have none. So it's like, why would you do that? Why do you think we want that? And it is, you know, we live in an over-sexualized culture as well. Women more than men, funny enough, which is silly because we're the more vulnerable sex physically. If we get attacked, I don't know why people encourage it. I mean, it just sets you up for a fall. But the boys, boys, and they are boys when they're acting like whores. Men don't act like whores, they've got shit to lose. You will not see an actual established man with a job and a family and a home who is known to himself and he's safe in his sexuality and stuff like that. He will not go around and just fuck anyone. He'll pick one and he'll pick a fucking good one, because you're not just going to settle for shit. But he'll pick one and it will be, that is my person, let's build an empire. We've got shit to do, stop fucking around. The mind games are worth nothing. Women hate the mind games. I hate the mind games. To me, you're insulting my fucking intelligence. This playing hard to get shit. I'm like, I'm not here to fuck around, I'm here to build. If you don't know what you want, then fuck off. I'm not. What is this time wasting shit? Do you know how much shit I have to do in a day? And you're doing this shit to me? You're trying to die? What the fuck? You know? Boys get off on it. Men don't. Men get on with it. Guys get off on it. Boys get off on it. Because it's some kind of cat and mouse bullshit. They're thinking they're more valuable or more chaste because they're fucking with girls' brains, or guys' brains, depending on what your sexuality is. But to be honest, it just gets in the way of any kind of progress, and they still inevitably in the end get left. And it just shows what kind of a horrible person they are to be fucking with someone's brains and emotions. I mean, Bob Marley said that one of the cruelest things, or the most wicked things you could do, is awaken the woman's affections with no intention of loving her. I mean, that's fucking Bob Marley. He made a movie, except he's dead. Wait, no, that was someone else. I think that was his brother. No, his son. I've had a lot of coffee today. It was this Ziggy Marley. I think he just made that movie. I'm not sure if I want to go see it because it's a bit bandwagony. But I would like to watch it eventually if it comes on Netflix or something like that. I didn't watch the Barbie movie for the same reason. I'm going, this is bandwagony. I don't like it. But there's something to be said for guys who are gentlemanly, even by cliche standards. I'm not talking about the nice guys that wear fedoras and creep out girls in bars and bookshops. I'm a nice guy. It's like, for how long? See, that's one of the dangers of being attracted to guys who have manners and things like that. Are these real manners? Or are these you being nice enough to get what you want and then fucking off again? Which is part of the love bombing stage, to be honest. It's ridiculous. It's like, I want a genuine person with manners. To be honest, I want the male equivalent of me. So I would like a version of me, and most women would. Maybe it's an extension of narcissism or something like that. Maybe it's my own latent narcissism, subconscious traits that I just refuse to acknowledge. But you know, can I just have me with junk? I don't mind the boobs. No. No. Wow, that would be a weird experience. That'd be a hermaphrodite. No, wait, hang on. I don't know. Moobs. Guys with masto. I don't know. But psychologically, people with manners. And I'm not saying that they, like, I've been looking silly enough at Andrew Tate videos again because I'm intrigued. I'm going, where are you picking up these this persona, this masking of what you think masculinity is? I'm trying to figure it out. It's like, where you picked it up. And he's gone the uber masculine, semi-toxic mode where he has to be uber logical and he has to cut off his emotions. Not entirely, but enough to make the woman feel like she's safe. I'm just going, well, fair play. That works, but at the same time, how are you dealing with your own emotions? Because men still feel. You're still gonna, by doing that, he internalizes all his emotions. He's gonna feel bad, he's gonna feel sad and angry at times, and he's not gonna feel confident enough or comfortable enough to release those and be able to relate to anyone around them, even if it's to another guy. He's not gonna feel comfortable enough like that because it's just, you're going to feel like a burden, or you're going to feel like it's, you know, slightly effeminate to have any kind of feelings. And chemicals, you know, feelings are just chemical reactions in your body. They're, you know, it's nothing you can escape. The testosterone makes it particularly biased towards aggression. Women, it's more towards the I want to say caring and emotionally side of things with the estrogen. But at the same time, so it's inescapable scientific fact that you are going to have emotions unless you completely drain your body of all hormones in your body, which will kill you. I don't know how you're going to do it either. It seems absurd. But there's nothing wrong with guys having emotions. There's nothing wrong with guys crying. Sadness is one of those neutral emotions that's not engendered. It's if you've gone through a fucked up circumstances, it's absolutely okay to cry. Absolutely. testosterone has no effect on depressive episodes. It has everything to do with the fight mechanism, if you're talking about fight, flight, and fawn and all that. But when it comes to sadness and reality, you cannot fucking merge, dude. Holy shit. Well, when it comes to... I fucking hate driving through my own neighborhood. Tits. Fucking Jaguars. Where are you coming from? They're the guys selling the drugs. Why is there a Jaguar in my old neighborhood? They're selling the meth. But no, testosterone is all about the aggression side of things, which is why women can be aggressive, but it's more to do with getting fucked over rather than actually... It's reactive rather than actually active. You know, they say the best form of defense is attack. It's like women aren't that way inclined naturally, not unless our attacks are usually reactive, because we've got that inbuilt defense mechanism where we're trying to dumb down stuff and put flames out so it doesn't get worse, so we're not pissing off someone to make them, you know, more aggressive, potentially more violent. That's an estrogen thing, which is why women tend to be healers or mediators or peacekeepers. We know what it is to be fucking afraid all the time. We don't want to perpetuate that in the community. We've got babies and kids traditionally to look after. We've got men to heal. Why the fuck would we want to inflame an already difficult situation? Whereas men tend to be part of the protection side of things is also to be an aggressor. If someone comes to attack your family or your lady, you've got to be able to, you know, get your claws out, rip them up. If you're a very aggressive cat. No, wait, that's a donkey. You see, this is why I don't do war so much. I understand the theory of it, I just don't go out and pick fights. I don't have the side of things. My spirit animal is a corgi. It's small, it's short, it's fat, fluffy, and it likes sleeping a lot. That is my spirit animal. Never mind that I'm a white wolf. Never mind that's my totem, is actually a scarlet wolf. But traditionally I'd like to be a corgi. If we could just retire and have a soft life. Give me Ferrero shares and a nice nap. But no, I mean, men traditionally need to be the aggressors. They need to be, I hate that though, because sometimes it gets blown out of proportion. When you got toxic masculinity who's pushing for this uber aggressive man because you've got to be top dog or top G. And you see there and think, you look like a top tit, stop it. You've got kids and women to look after, stop trying to promote your ego first. I mean, it's sending out signals of propaganda that don't fuck with me, which in itself is an insecurity. We can tell it's fake. Women look at it and go, your insecurity's showing, and it's really bad armor at this point. Which is what I felt the whole time I was sitting there watching Andrew G. But there's moments, Andrew Tate. But there's moments when he's actually relaxed, looking around with his brother and being stupid, and you go, oh, so he is human after all. He's not this mask of bullshit that he's put on top. Which is the selling point for his whole thing, really. Because women are looking at the uber masculine thing. They're not buying into that. They're not buying it. They think you're an asshole for that. Because it's too aggressive, it's too cold, it's I don't like this, I don't feel like you could protect me, I wouldn't put my trust in you because of this arrogance. But in the moments in between, when he's actually relaxed and he's being what looks to me like when he was a kid, he's piss-farting around talking about Uranus and stuff like that. I'm sitting there going, you and your brother had a weird childhood, didn't you? I feel for your sister, to be honest. She had to put up with this shit. I'm looking at this and I'm going, that's your soft side. You still have the feminine side in you. You just refuse to admit that you have it. And to be honest, he could have autism. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's not helpful for this, uber masculine, stiff upper lip kind of shit that he's decided to push on everyone as his version of masculinity. There are parts of him that I can see when I'm looking at his videos that he is still a gentleman, believe it or not. He's got the traits of a gentleman. He's got the protective side, and there are so many women who just hate this guy because all they see is the toxic pushing themselves on people as the top dog, the top G shit. I'm sitting there going, if you promote the softer side of things, which is technically what he's trying to do with a few of those interviews with the Candace chick, there was one where he was talking about he wanted to get married, he didn't have a problem getting married and stuff like that. I'm sitting there going, oh, you're trying to appeal to the female population now. It's like, actually, and you can tell from his mannerisms and things like that he softens his approach. He's not sitting there, oh Christ, is that the sports teacher? To go off on a tangent, there is a sports teacher at this school who gives me the shits, quite frankly. She is preppy all the fucking time. Is it? It is. Oh, but it's fake, and you can tell. And you're sitting there thinking, why? Why is this fake to the point where it's just? And I think it's a coping mechanism to deal with the shit circumstance she finds herself in. She fakes everything up front, so it's, you know, saccharine good all the time. And maybe she can just push through another day of dealing that she works with in a low SES school. It's compensating for shit circumstances, so she's going over the top with the positivity. It's just like, you are fucking making me sick doing this, stop it. But anyway, that's a tangent. But, you know, the purpose of the masculinity is to protect the woman. It's to provide somewhat, is to co-lead within parenting systems. If you are there to go away. If you are there to raise children, you're meant to co-lead in that. Even if you're stuck in a shit relationship with the person you don't love, there's a lot of guys of my generation at this point who are facing divorce and separation from women that they've impregnated, they've had kids with. It's a very sterile way of looking at it. You're going to impregnate her. It's like, we're not having a family. You got knocked up. But they have no attachment to the person they're with anymore, and so they've left, and it's led to separation, divorce. But they've still got to deal with co-parenting because this is their responsibility. I mean, some people don't want the responsibility, and some people their partner is fine with them not parenting this person, this kid or kids. It's down to the individual, of course, but at the same time, you know, they're still looking to provide for their kid. If they don't have any feeling for their ex-spouse or whatever it is, they still look to provide for their kids. That's part of the gentlemanly, masculinity, honourable system that is promoted. It can sometimes be detrimental, but at the same time, I mean, they do tend to get stuck in these mindsets where it's considered gentlemanly to stay in circumstances where, you know, you have to say, because I've had a kid with this person, and so I've got to make it work because it's the right thing to do, and that's the honor system associated with being a gentleman. So if you find yourself in those circumstances, chances are you've got gentleman traits. Maybe you were raised amongst girls who promoted this ideology. Guys who tend to come from all guys families, it's a challenge to understand where their idea of gentlemanliness comes from, unless of course they've been enmeshed in like a heavy, I want to say gentleman-based culture, where men are supposed to be honourable, and these are the traits we favour, and there are some parts of that. You tend to associate that with people who have money or social status. Although there are some people who have money or social status that will just exploit that and treat everyone like shit because they can cover it up with money. So it's more of a moral code thing, realistically. But I will say, you will get further if you use your manners with anyone else. And I'm not saying fake it for the sake of getting laid. I'm saying it's just as a way of living. Guys are not supposed to be constantly on the aggression. They're not supposed to be. It burns them out, to be honest. I mean, think about all those psychotic guys who end up in prison and stuff because they're constantly looking to start a fucking fight. Have you ever seen that movie Green Street Hooligans or Football Factory? And there are people who are looking for the fight. They cannot handle that they have settled into a suburban life and they've got families and they're 40 plus, or they're young kids that just misled and they form this sort of semi-gang. And they go to football games just to fucking start fights. It's a culture which still exists. My mum was a Millwall fan. Millwall got into some scraps growing up. She came from the Isle of Dogs. My dad, funny enough, came from West Ham. They somehow got together. I support West Ham. But, you know, there's an aggressive culture behind that, and it's where men have no outlet for the aggression. And the whole premise behind those movies is because they have no outlet for aggression on the battlefield or anything like that. They tend to take it out in suburban areas where they fight other opposing teams, like other football team hooligans. man. It's crazy. It shouldn't be happening at all. You've got to find a better outlet for that. Take up boxing, UFC, something like that, where it's a safer environment than just, shanking each other because your football team sucks or lost or won. It doesn't make sense. There's that toxic masculinity again. Gentlemen wouldn't, for example. They would say, well done for winning. We are using sportsmanship. If they lost, that's fair play. We'll try again next time. There's always that gentleness to it, that understanding, the compassion, okay, we could get this right next time. And that's not just with sports, that's with everything in life. If something goes wrong, they don't lose their shit. They have emotional control. And if you're talking about esoteric terms, that's the emperor. If you look at the tarot cards, that's the vision of the emperor, is to have every aspect of their life in control and moving forward calmly. Keep it together. It's not just a case of being only logical. They still have the emotions. They still have the King of Cups. But they keep it in check so that it's not detrimental to their life and those around them. That is what being a gentleman is. Keeping your shit in check. Not being the overly aggressive. Not saying that you can't be the aggressor, but not, not being able to channel it into something more constructive and just picking fights with everyone around. The King Cups in reverse, for example, is an overly controlling, dominant asshole. Whereas the King upright is he's stable emotionally, he's caring, compassionate, he's the father figure that we all fucking want and never fucking got, right? It's the one we want. And the emperor is the ultimate all father. He's got the pentacles, the cups, the wands, what's the other one? Swords. He's taking all the actions, the right moves. He's manifesting the right way. He's got all the money because he's done the right things. He's emotionally stable. He's the ultimate one that we want. And the ultimate female is the empress, which is or at least I'm leaning towards. Once I get my pentacles in joint, I can start my empire spreading. But yeah, it's that's what we should be heading towards. These overly aggressive, dominating assholes just do not get anywhere. You need to teach your manners. You need to be in control. And I'm not saying this bullshit stoic version of masculinity either, which is just cutting off your feelings. You still need to feel your feelings and move through them. Use your manners. Keep your shit together. Keep your moral code up. Keep your energy high. Those low energy behaviors like sleeping around, drinking, drugs and all that is just going to fuck you over anyway. You're never going to reach stability following that shit. And you might think it's an adventure at the time. Why would you park next to me? Empty car park. Why are they doing it again? But it's, oh my god, fuck off. It bugs me. But you think about it, see, now it looks like I'm talking to myself and I'm not, but I am. Fuck off. Where are you? I think it's the RT teacher actually. But I'm going to pretend to be on my phone. But you gotta work towards stability. Everything like those low energy activities, which you think are adventurous at the time because you're getting that instant gratification, just tends to have a residual effect of fucking you over in the end. And to be honest, no woman in her right mind is going to want to start a family with a guy who's a fucking liability. Druggies, alcoholics, whores, people who have open relationships. It's like, sure, I'll invite extra chaos into my life. I've got kids to raise and a shitload of stuff to do. Why wouldn't I invite extra people to create problems, bring their baggage with it? It's not sustainable. It's not safe. And it's the man-hoes with no gentlemanly manners that tend to create these unsafe environments for women, and women will just fuck off out of there if it gets not right, unless they're got mental issues where they're trauma bonded and they want to stay in those kind of environments because they think that's all they deserve. There are girls like that. Some guys love it because it means they can dominate them and get whatever they want out of them and treat them like shit. I am not one of those. If we're building, we build together and we build it on equal footing. I'm not wasting my time with a half-ass or I have to drag around and wipe his ass. I don't like it. I don't like assholes with no manners. I hate them. I've got to the point in my life where I'm less inclined to brush shit under the rug and be nice. I'm more inclined to just walk the fuck away because I've got stuff to lose. And it's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to risk myself to be the nice person that compensates for someone else's stupidity. And bad manners and shit way of living and bad habits, and you sit there and think, no, I don't need to do this. And that comes with age and maturity, because you've got the young girls who are willing to tolerate it because, oh my god, he's got abs, and it's like, oh my god, I can be like the leader of this group. Oh my god, Prosecco. It's like these dumb bitches that love Prosecco. Grow up. It's like, the Prosecco ain't your friend, particularly when it's an older dude just trying to get laid to use you, and then he'll fuck off with one of your friends. It's like, that's not your friend. That's not going to save you. You're not really going to have a good time, because when you get to my age, you'll start really fucking regretting what you did when you've got nothing in your hands and your aging is showing. It's like, you built nothing because you chose no one who was of quality, because you just want to have fun. It's the ant and the grasshopper, and it's an Aesop's fable. I think it's an Aesop's fable. But at the same time, it rings true. If you piss fart your life away during the summer, you're going to starve in winter. You piss fart your 20s away, fucking around and finding out. By the time you get to your 40s, you're going to really start fucking hating yourself because you've got nothing to show for it. I learned the hard way, because I thought I was actually building with someone, but at the same time I lost it all at 33 and had to start again, and that's a risk. We all take a gamble when we find someone. Hopefully it's the right one. But, it should be an educated guess, or an educated risk, an informed risk. Whereas I was winging it in my 20s when I found my ex-husband, so that was my bad. That was my gamble. I didn't think it would fuck up, because I thought he was pretty safe, but at the same time, my bad. Alright, I'm gonna have to leave it there. If you are a man, or if you are a masculine woman who likes to enjoy traits, or fucking anyone, just use your manners. It's what it is. It's like, that's what I consider to be gentlemanly. Someone who actually is considerate of others and compassionate and kind. What are you doing, Isaiah? Ew, spat, no turd. I got one of my kids is a Maori kid, and he's got like a skullet, and he's funny as fuck. He's the one that was doing the cocaine bags. That wasn't actually cocaine, it was crushed up chalk. And he's just walking along staring at me, and then he just spat on the floor. I'm like, little turd. I gotta go, otherwise I'm gonna be late. Alright, I hope you have a fantastic Tuesday, and I will hopefully chat to you on the way back.